From fine art to photography, an art element in your event can make it really special. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Festival Soup, the podcast for festival, fair, and rodeo professionals. Join your host, Mike Baxter, a certified festival and event executive, as he brings you interviews from industry leaders, expert advice, and the latest updates from the world of fun-filled events. Whether you're working on a startup or managing an established, long-running event, Festival Soup has the ingredients for success.
Hi, welcome to Festival Soup. Today we're going to be talking art festivals. Our guest is Jenny Carattini-Wright, the Executive Director and CEO of the Woodlands Arts Council and the Woodlands Waterway Art Festival. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we've known each other a long time, and I've watched your festival in the Woodlands from afar. I've never been there, but I will soon.
I hope so.
So let's talk art festivals. Let's just start off with, what is it about art that brings a community together?
So that's a great question. Art can be the fabric of a community. It builds social engagement. It inspires reflections. It sparks creativity. We have the beautiful Waterway, and we've installed public art, beautiful art benches for people to enjoy. And so having art in a community actually is fabric for me. It brings people together. It's motivating. It sparks, conversations. I think that it's a wonderful attribute of a community. I mean, I don't know, you're a photographer and you've been all over the state of Texas, and every community you go to, you're exposed to amazing art. Mm-hmm. I know Texas is so rich in culture and art. And so it's what's building for the Woodlands, its community, because it's still such a new community.
Yeah, and I know this is your passion. I mean, yes. You could tell, when we first met and you were doing this, that you're very passionate about art. And so being able to be in charge of an art festival has got to be very fulfilling.
Yes. When we started in 2005, I was just a volunteer. I fell into it, and yes, hook, line, and sinker. My background in the hotel industry, kind of set the stage for me. I love logistics, and then having the art here in our community was incredibly important to us, our family, because I was taking my kids down to Houston or up to Conroe. There was never anything here for our kids to enjoy, and so. Being a part of this whole process of creating the festival over the years has been a part of our life now. And in 2015, we got to the point where we had an opportunity to do the public art program. And that was phenomenal, because now we have over 39 pieces in the Woodlands that is focus for people in tourism, for people to come here and see. But the festival has grown exponentially over the years, in the sense of we've gotten better artists. The community knows who we are. It's so fascinating to me to have all the security, the township, all the components come together at our festival. So it gives me a lot of joy to be a part of all that connection.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's several major art festivals, all over the state of Texas. So, what are some of the things that would really set the Woodlands Art Festival apart from some of these others?
I have to be 100% honest with you. It's the venue. So the artists travel, they're on a circuit. They're going from show to show. So you're going to basically, if you went show to show, you'd see most the same artists. But it's the venue along the Waterway is incredible. It offers just the water. Being next to the water it's just this great essence. And I would also have to say that our volunteers set us apart. We treat the artists like they're gold, and we never call them a vendor. The food vendors are vendors, but the artists are treated like gold, like I said.
Yeah.
And so definitely the venue and the volunteers.
How many volunteers do you have for this event?
So I have a core group of volunteers of about 26 people who help me with each part of the festival. I have an operations manager, and then it takes about 560 volunteers to run it over the 3 days. Well, actually,
and again,
it's 5 days.
and so they're passionate as well, obviously, about the arts.
They come back every year, and just depending if the weather's great and, everything's going great, they're going to come back. If the weather's bad and they have a bad time, they're like, I'm not coming back like a, normal person. But when it starts to roll around, they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was really fun.
Well, when the event is over, that weekend in April, when do you start planning for the following year? How long does that process take?
Almost immediately, because we evaluate, we do our surveys, we come together, recap, make sure that we've got all our notes in place for what went wrong, what went great, who wants to come back. Of course, following up with sponsors, big deal there, but it takes us about 10 months. I start in June. It's not much of a break.
Yeah. Well, so when you're booking the different artists to come into this event, do you normally do it right as they're ending the existing event, the current event?
So we put out our call for artists in August 1st through October 20th. We feel like that's an adequate amount of time for people to make decisions. And really, the artists are last minute Janes. So it doesn't matter when the deadline is. They're just going to wait to the deadline.
I got it.
And we, advertise to the artists. There are several online magazines, and we use a software called Zapplication. And through that software, they also do advertising. So we reach artists all over the nation and international. And that's how they learn about us.
So your art festival, the bigger art festivals, they don't just have paintings and drawings. There's a variety of different medium. So can you tell us a little bit about, what you have and maybe how it's expanded from a basic layout to what it is today?
Sure. So we have a very strange venue. We don't have one gate, we have 5. And it's because it's along a waterway and through a park. And we definitely want to give everybody access wherever they are. And so it just makes us have a headache, but oh well, it's well worth it. We get the people in. When we first started this festival, we had it in mind that we would do fine arts. So arts with an S. So fine arts and fine crafts. So fine art is your 2-dimensional paintings, photography, digital art. That's where the fine art world lives. And then fine craft is your artists that are ceramicists, woodworking, functional art. So glass, metalworks, furniture making. So a whole variety of fine crafts. So when the goal in our mission is to educate the community about art. And so we ask the artists to participate with us and make sure they share their stories, their techniques, educate our community. You can't come in and say, oh, they didn't know anything. Well, it's really important for them to partake in the process. And so we have continued to prove that we have a buying audience, and that's the attraction for the fine artists and find crafters to come back to our show or apply to our show. So over $2 million per year usually is what the total sales are from those 200 artists.
Mm-hmm. So like any other festival or fair, there needs to be newness to an event. So how do you keep your event fresh and bring the folks back? Oh, absolutely.
So, well, the venue hasn't changed, and everybody says, "Oh, it's bigger this year." It's like, oh, well, not really. We just rearrange things a little bit, you know. It is the challenge. It's like when the journalists from the newspapers call me and what's new? It's like, oh my God. Well, anniversaries always make something new.
Right.
We move the artists around. We usually are about 60% new artists and 40% returning. And so we mix it up. We have artists that are like, I want to be in my same place because, you know, they either sold out or had a great show the year before and my people won't find me. And it's like, no, I don't take that. It's our show and we're going to put you where we want to put you. And so we're very strategic in it. And the show looks fresh. So when they're taking pictures, they look fresh. But really, sometimes we bring in a headliner performer. We've had Ruthie Foster one year. And that's always scary for us because, you know, being a nonprofit, paying performers up front is a scary thing for us because if it rains, we're out that money. And it's very, like I said, scary for us because every penny counts for us. So headliners, great performances, local stages. And it was so funny because this is a really good question too. So I was the festival director from 2011 to 2016. And in 2012, the board asked me, how are you going to get more people into the show? And at the time, we had just one stage. And so I thought about my kids and I was like, well, we don't have a dancing baby stage. We need a dancing baby stage where the dance clubs and the choirs and whoever's want to come and they invite their moms, their dads, their aunts and uncles, and their grandparents. And sure enough, it certainly paid off. The stage has been with us since 2012 and made a big difference. And the community loves it because it's a community. It made it more of a community event, inclusive versus just for art buyers and people listening to performances.
Yeah, if you have more higher end art to be seen and purchased, how does that relate then to the styles of music that you might bring in? Is it going to be, you know, string quartets or, you know, how do you handle that?
So I have a great music team and we try to kind of style it toward more of jazz, blues. They added yacht music last year. I was like, what's yacht music? But the crowd seemed to love it. We, you know, in an art show, our art show, it's about the artists. And we focus on that. They need to be able to speak to their audience and to sell their art. And so performers come in and we have to make sure the sound is right, that it's not overlapping, and, you know, the logistics of making sure everybody's happy. People come to the show not necessarily to listen to the performances. They like that background noise, that background music. And they like being along the waterway and having a beer by the water and, you know, listening to music. It's just an extra perk. It's a place for them to rest. We've had everything from, we've had a couple of rock groups, which were like, that was the wrong decision there. And we're not country western. But knowing the kind of music people listen to really can up the number of beers you sell or the number of glasses of wine you sell.
Sure.
So,
Jenny, let's take a real quick break for this message, and we'll be right back.
Ready to elevate your event to the next level? Partner with Certified Festival and Events Executive Mike Baxter and Texas Festival and Tourism Consulting to transform your festival or fair into an unforgettable experience. With a track record of success at renowned events like the Midland County Fair, the Texas Blueberry Festival, the McAllen Holiday Parade, the Lubbock Arts Festival, the Texas Crab Festival, and the Great Texas Mosquito Festival, Mike brings unparalleled expertise to your event planning and execution. From event evaluation and development to strategic marketing, public relations, and award-winning photography, Mike is your go-to consultant for making your event shine. Don't miss out on the opportunity to work with one of the best in the business. Mike Baxter is former chairman and longtime member of the Texas Festivals and Events Association and a member of the Texas Association of Fairs and Events. Call or text Mike Baxter today at 281-222-4775 or email mike@txfestconsultant.com. Let's make your next event a standout success.
We are back. We're here with Jenny Carattini-Wright, Executive Director and CEO of the Woodlands Arts Council and the Woodlands Waterway Art Festival. So we are talking art, an art festival, and maybe adding an art element to your existing event. What are some of the changes or additions maybe that have been most successful for you over the past few years?
we had reached our peak basically in 2016 with 19,000 visitors, with 4 stages, art of food, a kids area, lots of things going on. And then COVID hit and everything shut down. And we did a virtual show, which I don't ever want to do again.
No.
And then we came back in 21 kind of with a vengeance, but we scaled everything back. We had only one stage and all the artists. And then we even scaled that back. We went from 225 artists to 184 or something like that. So it created a different kind of atmosphere and everybody loved it. And we had 23,000 people come to that show, which was amazing. So that was 21. And slowly through the years, we've been we added the kids stage back. We added hometown stage. We have another area under a bridge that we put a musician. So having the stages coming back over the years has been a good thing. One of the biggest changes and the biggest impact we had was I advocated to allow dogs. So, if you go to Cottonwood Art Festival, if you go to several of the art festivals in the community, in Texas, they allow pets.
Right.
And when I go to those shows, it's the same kind of people, the same demographic. And I'm like, okay, if we allow dogs, I had to do lots of investigating. I had only one board vote no, one board member vote no. And so we did it. And then that was in 21. And it was so hilarious because we thought we could control the size of the dog. Never try to control the size of the dog. But anyway, long story short, it actually brings up our attendance because people who buy art have dogs.
Yeah.
And so,
The Woodlands community is very family oriented.
oh, definitely.
And so what's the importance of having an art festival that appeals to both grown-ups and to children?
I think just having tradition, establishing tradition. We are the only large event in the Woodlands that's so family oriented. We have several other signature events through Visit the Woodlands that come through every year, but they're coming from out of town into our community. So this is truly grassroots students. We've been giving scholarships since 2006. So we're getting ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary, and in that we're giving away a $20,000 scholarship to a senior in high school. And it's an art competition, but it's not, we're not designating it. If you're going to study math, you're still going to get you still have that possibility.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that the Woodlands really looks forward to, without a doubt.
You had mentioned earlier about educating the community. So what sorts of outreach programs do you do through through the festival as well as, your other group?
Right. So we have a micro grant program that's actually open right now, and we do annually, and it's for educators, for schools, for arts organizations, and artists. And we are partnered with the Pavilion, and they help us in this program by funding the micro grants for performing arts. Mm-hmm. So really nice collaboration, and to the tune of $80,000 a year is what we contribute to the community. So we're always excited about that. And it's basically helping the kids or organizations better their programs for art and music. And then we have the scholarship program I mentioned earlier for high school seniors. And it's not just for the Woodlands, it's for Montgomery County. And the same with the microgrants. We're not exclusive to the Woodlands. It's the whole county. And through the public art program that we do. And then we also have a gallery in our offices. And so we have quarterly art shows. Mm-hmm. And so through those shows, we educate our community as well. Yeah. So like just recently, we had featured a collection from a couple who lived in the Woodlands for 40 years. And they shared their art with us, and we had a beautiful show for almost 2.5 months with their art here. And it's pretty exciting. So we have lots of things going on. We just did a Young Makers Market featuring 3rd to 12th graders selling their art in Market Street for a day. And we preceded that with entrepreneurial business classes. So really exciting new program. And then November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we have the Texas Fine Craft Show, which is a brand new show that we're doing indoors at the Westin Hotel.
Nice. Yeah. Your event is obviously a large event. So let's talk about smaller events that someone may want to, get into creating some sort of an art festival or event in their community in a small town. Sure. What sort of advice could you give them to help them maybe get started in that direction?
So I always say, your art league is your friend. We're an arts council, so a little different because we were created to do this festival. But a lot of art leagues and a lot of chambers put on art festivals. And I would say if I were going into a small town, and I actually have a friend in a small town that's talking to me about it right now, your local artisans are a place to start. But if you want to be serious about bringing in an art show, it is about offering marketing, bringing the audience. So I would say if you know your audience is a buying audience, you can attract higher end artists to come to your community. Mm-hmm. Again, there's a place in Belleville, Illinois, which is a very small town. They only host 90 artists. It's open to the public. It's not a paid event. And frequently those artists make over $20,000 each for the weekend. Wow. And it started out as it's still a small event, but they know the audience. So mm-hmm. I think it's critical before you do an event that you know your audience. You can't just have a dream. You have to make sure people are going to come. And no different than us starting this small fine craft show in the Westin Hotel. And We know we have the audience. We know we have the buyers. Will they come? I might have to have part 2 with you to tell you the results. But again, I think it's critical to know your audience and know whether or not you can get to the point where you're catering to those high-end craft and fine artists.
Yeah, because even here in Tomball, when we first started getting into the arts through our festival program, and we created the Art Walk and had downtown merchants say that they would take an artist from the local art guild and some local photographers, and then the guests coming to town to the show would walk from retail store to retail store to restaurant and see the different artists at work, see their works on display, and it drove traffic into those shops.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was good for the artists as well as for the retails. So
yes,
that was a good thing.
Absolutely. That's a great model to begin with. And I love like first Saturdays, or joining on with your farmers market. There's a lot of farmers markets that are catering to crafters and small artists, artisans. But that's kind of for me, that's the beginning of a festival, because all you have to do is add the music, add a children's activity,
add some food, and you're good to go.
Food, and you're having a festival.
Yeah. Last night I went to a photography show for a photography club on the north side of Houston, and it was incredible works. They were showing entire portfolios and giving awards and that sort of thing. And so that's a great source for additional, artists to come to your festival.
Yeah, there's the Washington Arts District in downtown, near the Heights, and they took up over all these silos, and it is actually the largest conglomerate of working artists in the United States.
That's great.
It's a pretty cool place, but it's still not like being outside.
Yeah. Do you find it difficult to find sponsors now? Is it as difficult now as it was in the beginning?
No.
They come to you.
Yeah.
It's
everybody comes back. Every now and then we'll have somebody say, I need to take a break, or I need to go support another organization this year, but count me in next year or whatever. We definitely have a reputation and a trust factor. And so that's critical in selling sponsorship. And we're a small organization. And so it was really, at the very beginning, it was the board really pulling all their strings. But we've gotten to the point where, it's not as hard as it used to be. But it is an election year this year, so it's going to be a little different. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Is there anything that maybe we've not touched on you'd like to talk about?
Just that if you don't have art in your community, what a pain. You need it. You need it for creativity, for thinking outside the box. People need to get out of their offices and see something different. And a venue can change the whole experience.
Yeah.
So, how they say in the restaurant business, location, location, location. It truly is about the location. However, you can have some amazing things happen in a very plain space too. So it goes both ways. So, I say don't be afraid, and use your resources in your community, and the art leagues or the art councils or the alliances or whatever's in your community to its fullest.
And your schools, universities,
schools, absolutely, because that's where your fan base comes from. Our interns are coming from the schools. They turn into volunteers, and then they turn into scholarship winners, and then hopefully they're making a donation one day.
And if it's an existing fair, festival, whatever, this can also become an event within the event, the way the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo does.
Absolutely.
And then they're involved in the schools, around all of Southeast Texas.
Absolutely. It's the rodeo's amazing art program. Amazing art program. Have you ever experienced the bidding when they start to bid on the art?
Yeah, it's great.
Wow. I had never experienced anything like that. That was amazing.
And the art coming out of these schools is amazing as well.
Yes. I'm frequently a judge of the Western Art Show for CISD. And it's incredible. The kids' work is incredible.
Yeah.
So you're never without a source of artists, I can tell you that, when you're involved with schools.
Yeah. And I'm involved with the Rosenberg Railroad Museum.
Yes.
That's a really nice railroad museum west of Houston. And so I've been invited back as a judge for their photography contest, later this year. And so the works that they bring in that were taken on site of the model railroads and the displays and things like that, they're just amazing. A lot of talent out there.
Well, I'm going to have to keep you in mind to come and judge the art show.
All right,
Seriously.
I will do that. You just let me know.
We have over 700 people or artists that apply for the 200 spots. And I tried to make the jury diverse enough. So we have photography, we have a 3D artist, maybe sculpture, jewelry, and a painter. And so, I like to have a nice variety. So, I'm going to keep you in mind. I might be recruiting you, Mike.
I'll be there. So I do appreciate you being here today with us, Jenny. It's Jenny Carattini-Wright of the Woodlands Art Festival and the Woodlands Art Council. And appreciate you spending some time with us talking about art in a festival setting. So you have a great day.
You too, Mike. Thanks again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of Festival Soup. We hope you enjoyed our tasty serving of festival insights and advice. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you the best content in the industry. For more tips, trends, and updates, visit our website at www.festivalsoup.com. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, great ingredients make for a tasty festival soup. See you next week.